Stuart, how are you? It's good to see you.
Hey Hugo, how's it going? You too.
Hey,
Thanks for
thank you
having me
for.
today, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, of course, you've always been on my list, and I'm just glad that I'm finally have you with me and Destino, and we're able to discuss about all of your work, specifically on the film Blinko. But before I get started, I wanted to hit you with some rapid fire questions.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm locking in the Hugo
All
round.
right.
Let's go.
Yeah, here we go. I really wanted to know the first character on TV or on screen that you really connected to when you were younger.
Oh man, that's a hard question. Let's see. Man, it might be okay. This might sound cliche, but I feel like it did come out. It's such a informative informative, I should say, time of my life, and the characters were the same age as me, but I feel like from even a young acting perspective, like Harry Potter was like an influential viewing experience for me. But I always joke with people that when that came out, everyone wanted to be Harry Potter. But I feel like that was the origin of me becoming enamored with villains on TV because I kind of was into Malfoy a little bit more. So maybe, yeah, maybe that'd probably be one of my early yeah, like sitting in the audience being like, I want to do this. You know what I mean? So yeah, that might be my that might be my
Oh yeah, I remember that era well, the Harry
totally.
Potter, Lord of the Rings era.
Yeah.
Um, Next question was, can you name the most recent movie or show that you've already watched multiple times?
Oh man, okay, recently too. Well, I feel like an interesting fact about my viewership is I love going to the theaters to start with.
Yeah.
And simultaneously, I don't know where this came from, but I don't like to repeat what I've just seen. Like I'm really adamant about like checking it out in theaters, seeing it twice in theater. I've only seen a handful of movies twice in the theater, and it's like I don't want to say it's ruined it for me, but I feel like I had an experience where I was like, man, I love this film, and then I went to see it with a friend because they hadn't seen it. And I was like, I don't know, it just kind of stripped the magic away from it. But so I don't know about repetitious, but one that I just saw that I feel like I got to a little bit late is Weapons,
Oh, okay.
which I loved. It was incredible. And I feel like when I do like the film, that's like, this sounds weird, but it's like even more interest to me to create a gap between when I first saw it and when I see it again. I almost kind of want to like reinvigorate the magic. So,
Yeah, I could see that.
yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so now we're gonna manifest a little bit here. And what if I was to give you unlimited budget? What kind of movie or show would you produce?
Oh my God. Wow, you're hitting me with hard ones here. Okay, let's see. I feel like no budget involved. I'm really drawn towards, even with small to no budget, I'm really drawn towards like making the location a very important, like if not the first character. So I feel like this might be a vague answer to your question, but I feel like with unlimited budgets, I would love to make something that was like truly shot like really off the grid, like out on the land. I'm definitely like a horror junkie, but I love like a great slice of life film as well, like a drama, like somewhere in there. So I feel like if I had an unlimited budget, the thing I would probably focus on is bringing the production to a location that would probably be very expensive to operate out of. I think some of my favorite films, small and large budget, really like bring the magic to you by showing you somewhere that you normally would have a hard time driving to specifically.
Yeah.
So that's maybe my answer for that. But yeah, yeah.
Well, great. I would love to get started just with your name and what you do.
Yeah, my name's Stewart Jackson. I'm a director, producer, actor, and like many of us in LA, we're having multiple hands and multiple pies. So that's how you get to meet me today, though. Yeah.
That's great. And what made you want to work in entertainment?
Man, I feel like okay, I mean going back to that Harry Potter era, right? Like
Mhm.
I just feel like from such a young age, just really fell in love with theater and performance, and I'm really fortunate to have parents who have always been super supportive of that. Shout out to my mom for putting me in the Denver Center of the Performing Arts youth theater camp when I was very young. That was like very informative point in my life. But I feel like flash forward to like a whole youth of actively being involved in theater or just like different creative outlets that kind of built up to me and going to drama school eventually. I feel like it was when I was in college. I feel like I was really locked in halfway through the college experience of wanting to deep dive into film specifically and like on the performance end and on the creative end. So I knew which I feel lucky to have had like that drive or clarity of passion at that point in time in my life. But I feel like I pretty immediately after college moved straight to LA, and within a couple of weeks, I was up and running at UCB. I was taking a ton of classes there and stuff. So like anyone that I think comes to LA, or even if you live in LA, entering that industry is such a long, feels like such a long, I feel like I'm like still doing that, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like um, you are constantly finding your place in that. So I think my dream to work in the film space was like very clear. And then um, yeah, moving out here pretty quickly. Right after that, I feel like that was a defining moment for me wanting to get involved in not just film, but Los Angeles specifically too, and the larger film experience.
Well, I know that for a lot of people, I mean, including me, getting my first gig was one of the hardest things. For you, what was the first job that it felt like it was a turning point for you?
Oh man, I that's a good question. I feel like I have a lot of when I moved here too, I jumped right into the hardcore experience that is auditioning at 150% and seeking representation and just like putting the blinders on. I was really like on that track for a while. Um, but I feel like, man, I almost feel like I have like a corporate answer for that and then even like an independent one. But um, this is so long ago, and it's like kind of a small example. But I remember one of the first things I booked when I moved out here was I got cast in a Bass Nectar music video, which I'm like, I don't know how well that aged, but I remember that was the first time I'd ever been on like a professional sound stage, and like really seen what like a true production was like that. And so for me, that's always like that's such an informative moment in my timeline here because I got like a really incredible glimpse at seeing how things were operating behind the camera, but also being like a featured individual in front of the camera and how that operated. I mean, that's always something I'm gonna reference back to. But um independently, even I feel like, yeah, starting to create my own work and like just putting myself in the front seat of the filmmaking process, those are almost two ways that I view the experience here in Hollywood on any creative end is like being on a studio grade job or a corporate job, and then if you happen to have independent pursuits, like those first initial things that really got you, sparked, where you had to go figure out stuff for yourself. So yeah, I haven't thought about that music video in a minute either. I gotta go check that out. It's haunting YouTube somewhere right now.
I'm gonna have to add the link down below.
Oh boy, yeah, yeah. It's an Easter egg. You're gonna have to really dig deep for that one. Yeah.
So, I really invited you here so that we can discuss and celebrate this accomplishment of yours, of your film, Blinko. So, what was the reason why it drove you to create this project?
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Well, I feel like I have to break the fourth wall here and acknowledge that I'm also being interviewed by one of the essential production members on this film. But the film was definitely like a kind of a man, like a project in the making, in the sense that I had been spending a decent amount of time in Las Vegas over the past 4 or 5 years, where I had one of my really good friends living out there. And I just started spending a lot of time there outside of the classic tourist experience. And I spent a decent amount of time in Las Vegas when I was younger too. So it just was kind of reinvigorating in a way that during that time that I had spent there, I'd really kind of started thinking like, I want to shoot something here. And so my time visiting out there and my time spent walking around, sometimes by myself for like hours in Las Vegas. I mean, it's one of the people watching capitals of the world, in my opinion, had really kind of planted that seed. But it wasn't until a trip that I made there in, let's see, May of 2024, when I happened to be in Las Vegas and they had announced that the Mirage Casino and Hotel was set to be torn down or partially deconstructed. And it was like a kind of crazy announcement, classic Vegas style, like, hey, this is going to happen really quickly and we're going to be up and running with this other brand. And I happened to be there when that was announced, and I just remember having this like moment of conviction, which is classically me, where all the other things you usually have to have organized immediately felt so unimportant to me, because there was potentially the opportunity to create something around what was like an actual event that was occurring scenically for the landscape in Las Vegas. So I'd say that was really the turning point where I just dug my heels in, and as you know, really moved us out there very quickly and figured a lot of stuff out on the fly. And it was possible because of you and a handful of other friends. So that's, yeah, I think that's how I'd probably approach that answer.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I felt very lucky and fortunate to be a part of your team. And like we've always talked about that we wanted to work on a project together with friends, and we were tired of waiting for like permission or for a studio or something to green light. So I was so happy when you were ready to just put your boots on the ground and really take charge on this project. And I remember that day that we spoke about it, and I was like, hey, whatever you need from me, I just want to make sure that you get to the finish line. And yeah, I'm so happy that now we're here talking about it. But what were some of the challenges for you with your role, and how did you overcome them?
Man, yeah, I mean, it's surreal to even be sitting here now in the position that you're even interviewing me from, and then like thinking back on how that was developed. I mean, man, I feel like a blatant challenge is that I came back from Las Vegas, and due to the timeline of the Mirage's deconstruction, I pretty much had to like produce and start like heavily creating conceptually and tech wise this film in probably like 20 days, which is crazy. So man, I mean, the permitting process in Las Vegas is like unlike any other place you need to get a permit in a big city. There's just like a lot of other aspects to that, which was a huge like learning experience for me. And I got very, very lucky that I had a great representative with the Clark County Film Commission that really assisted me in that process. But the deadline to apply for those permits was it had to be at minimum, I think it was 14 days in advance. So I had this really short timeline, and I remember just being like, man, I have to really lock in and just start investing in the permitting process for this without even knowing that you would have a completely available schedule, that our lead actress and co-writer Shay Sweeney was going to be available, and our DP Brady Serwitz. That schedules were even possible, and that felt like one of the most reckless, I guess, aspects of that. But we definitely had, yeah, I mean that those were like pre-production challenges. And then I think, yeah, you are very aware of, because it was just the four of us shooting on the strip for 2 days. And that just came with so many challenges that we were working on the fly. And it was really a testament to kind of what you said, like how we talked for so long about wanting to create something with our friends who I'm deeply in awe of all the time. And I think that kind of dialogue even informed a little bit of the plot for me and how that was developed. But yeah, 110 degrees at 11 p.m. and we're all passed out on a bench outside of a Denny's is also another aspect of that experience. So, yeah, there were lots of peaks and valleys, but we got through it. Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, part of the interest for me was that to hear from you that this was going to be a different approach. We were not going to have like a huge crew. We did not have a huge budget. We were going to invite our most talented friends that we've always wanted to work together. And between us, we were just going to go and just kind of figure it out as we go along. And for me, it was just very just rewarding to see like my friends in a professional like element and to be able to see everybody kind of bring their A game to bring this project.
Totally. Yeah, man. I mean, again, it's like that's so surreal. And that I feel like, man, I just even the way you just described that, I'm like, that is only made possible. Like friendship is one thing in that, and then everyone like being locked in their lane. But it was also, I think with any creative project, but especially this, was like an immense amount of trust that I had to, you know, ask of you guys, because the film also, all the dialogue being 98% improvised, and us running on the fly, the guerrilla style of this, was all, a part of a process that traditionally you are, if you're planning to do that, which we were, that takes even more time to do that. And so with those time constraints, it really was a testament to, yeah, the four of us just getting scrappy and hoping that Stewart Jackson wasn't going to lead us out into the desert and never return, so to speak. So I'm honored on that on that end. Yeah.
Yeah, we all definitely just it was Captain Stewart, whatever he needs from us. He's taking us to Circus for something, and we're gonna make magic somehow. Um, but you had obviously a lot of hats to fill, and you were not only behind the camera, but you were in front of the camera. So I want to know what that was like, and also what kind of scenes really stood out to you and made you feel like we were just doing something special out there?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. I mean, This was definitely, I think, in the scope of like things that I've made independently, like one of the more substantial projects, if not just challenging alone, like from the very get-go to the end of it, for multiple reasons. But I've had a little bit of experience being in that dual position, but this was like a whole other level for this. And so this was really like this was especially the nature of how guerrilla it was, and that we were really honing in on improv being the vehicle for so much of what was being created on the fly. There was a lot of pressure, I feel like, in a short amount of time and budget, like we said, to execute the vision, but then also having to like, vamp up the experience that is like delivering a character on screen. And as we would know, I mean, I really entered into this process letting you guys know that here's what we're going to set out to do. Here's the directorial experience I want to bring to us. But this is very much, I'm going to have to rely on you guys at the pace that we're moving to create this when I am in front of the camera, that we're all having an open dialogue about the direction. And that was something very, very important to me going into this. And something that I do feel um, critically opinionated just from a directing standpoint is that like you as a director firstly have to get out of everyone's way, almost like you need to lay the vision down, but then you need to really let people thrive in their lane. And for me on this project, that was asking you guys like, hey, if you are having an idea or if something's not clicking, especially if I'm not behind the camera and we're in front of the camera, like speak up. Like let's, it's four of us. Like this set is already deeply untraditional. So going through that, I think directing experience and then having to dial in on the acting element was also really, only made possible. Shout out to Shay Sweeney, who is an incredible actress and screenwriter who we've spent quite a bit of time writing together previously. We're also childhood like best friends, and we've known each other since we were 10. And so it's relying on those aspects of your relationship with someone to let all the magic happen, so to speak. And yeah, I mean, standout scenes in this film. Man, for a film where you're only repeating a location once, like it was so location heavy just in the nature of what we were creating. So each of those small worlds are so standout for me, but I almost feel like the opening scene in the film, which the character that I was playing is not physically present on the screen, was one of the, few times that I was truly just in the directing seat for this. And that was such a special, I feel like, moment for me because man, it just everyone executed perfectly in that. And it really laid down the tone for allowing us to like explore multiple genre in the film, but like really lay down silently with no dialogue like the true stakes of this slice of life film without getting into exposition, implied exposition. And I just, yeah, that was a standout moment for me behind the camera and in the final product, I would say as well.
Yeah, I can really piggyback off of that because I do remember the feeling of that opening scene, that first scene we ever did together, which was very crucial to see how we all collaborate. And it
Totally.
was a very intimate and very serious moment. And it really was a time to see how all of us flipped the switch from being, friends and to professionals. So that was a lot of fun. And then, I mean, I don't want to seem like I'm saying all this stuff because I was on the film, but a lot of
Totally.
the things that were just such coincidences and just kind of, like you said, we didn't have a shot list and we didn't have a lot
Yeah.
of things that we prepared. So when things like fell into place, it really just felt pretty magical and like it meant like we were supposed to be there. Just for one example, there was a scene where the character is laying, sitting down and resting, and then your line goes, "Hey, we can't be here," and then come to notice that we were actually shooting in front of a police station without even planning it. It was so funny,
Right.
and it ended up making the movie.
Totally. I know. And that was the funny thing, even how like the permits we ended receiving for that, it was like a lot of hard work, but it basically gave us like extraordinary access to anything that had sidewalk presence on the strip. And that moment, for all the moments that were even loosely constructed that we were going to improvise off of, that wasn't even in there. That wasn't even in the planning. That was just something that was like truly a product of us kind of living in the experience of these people walking down the strip, and we're like, oh my god, this would be so funny, let's go shoot this over there. Yeah, that is a standout that is a standout moment for me too, especially comedically in the film. Yeah.
For you, what would you say is very integral for those who want to make their own film?
Oh man. I feel like okay, but like there's a lot of things, right? Like you could get into semantics. I feel like pretty much anything, even just business in general, but especially creating something. I feel like as long as you, for if you're in charge, if you're the director, if you're producing, if you're having other people involved, as long as you have an extremely clear vision, it sounds kind of woo woo, but I'm like, the universe will help fill in the rest. I really just feel like, having a lot of money doesn't do that. Having a lot of resources doesn't do that. And I think I'm really interested in like creating things out of nothing, so to speak. Like I don't feel like, something I feel like I've learned at this point is you don't need a ton of money in order to execute something well, as long as you know what you want out of this. And I feel like I guess I would say to anyone starting that is like, you do have to go sit down and walk through, the logistics of like what this is going to look like. But if you want to leave things up to interpretation, or you want to leave set up the time to allow things to happen in the moment, kind of like we did on this film, it's just going to come down to you having the conviction that there is something you want to achieve visually. And I feel like I have to really hand that kind of learning experience to like my acting background, to be honest. I mean, I think every part of creating something has moments of that, but especially being an actor, like you're being given a role or a character, and especially if there's an improv element to it, like you have to very clearly adopt someone else's vision, but then deliver that through your own head. So I think, yeah, again, that's kind of a lofty, vague kind of thing to say, but I really feel like if you want to go make something and you can sit down on paper in any way possible and just like truly hone in on, even if it's not the dialogue, even if it's just what you want to see or what you want to feel, that is so crucial for you to carry yourself and other people through the entire process, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just want to add the fact that, everything that we filmed was all on an iPhone. Like you went out and bought the latest iPhone, and that was our main tool throughout this whole film. And we just wanted to prove to that like you said, we don't need a big budget, we don't need a huge crew, and we still made like this remarkable piece together. And I also wanted to bring up and shout out all the post-production people because I
Totally.
honestly was blown away when you sent me that sample or you were taking me through the process and everything was coming in line just with the music, just with the coloring and the editing. And you guys spent a lot of time on that. And that was also part of the magic.
Yeah, man, again, it's just like there were so many incredible incredible, like talented people that I'm fortunate to call friends of mine that really brought this thing to life and like, man, stepped in and saved it in places that were, tricky. Yeah, and the iPhone too. I mean, this is the third project that I've made on the iPhone, and I'm like really interested in, I don't even know how to phrase this, but I feel like not like non-traditional mediums of capture. Like I love dash cams, I love like hunting cameras. Like I just love things that were not necessarily thinking on the cinematic level with the iPhone. Obviously, there's a lot of content shot on that, but it's funny because this film, my old phone was falling apart. It was at the point it was falling apart, and so it's kismet how not only did I need to get a new phone, but that was a huge reason why I wanted to pursue this further with that technology. And I think all the moments we thought that there were going to be hiccups, including like not having any external lighting or added lighting on the project. I mean, the phone does some insane heavy lifting. The phone was a huge reason why we received one of the last permits to shoot in front of the Mirage because we weren't going to have a tripod touching the ground anywhere. We were like very minimal footprint. And I feel like the post production went pretty seamlessly on the tech end as far as what the iPhone was capturing. Like it really gave us this incredible ProRes footage that allowed us to manipulate it to the extent that we did in the end. And yeah, shout out to everyone that was a piece of that, even the score, like Olivia Shaw and Fee Sullivan, who created the score. Fee, I had a conversation with her pretty much after the fact that one of the tracks of hers that we used on there, she had used an iPhone to record the vocals on that track. So it just was like so incredible to kind of prove to myself that we could really push the limits of what we were able to create on this thing that's in everyone's back pocket. That's what was really special about that.
With that being said, is there anybody that really influenced you early on for this project, or people that you really admire that really pushed you to push this dream of yours?
Man, yeah, I feel like there's like there's just I feel like so many people are influential over the course of my creative time and existence. But I feel like this project specifically, I mean, a very core component of it, even the plot is, how we are seeking salvation out in each other in the shadow of this like very chaotic world that we're living in and like this American world, culture that it feels like it's spinning constantly. And in the midst of all of that, the people that are so life-saving to me, I feel like are my friends. And that's what was so special about this project. Like I could talk about mentors and other people that I've had, but this project specifically, it was just incredible that maybe this is the clear vision thing again, which the clear vision might involve some delusion in it, to be honest. I mean, there's always a little bit of that, but I just remember being like, I don't care what this turns into as long as by the end of it, I get to say that at least 90% of all the people that worked on this was someone that I have spent a lifetime admiring them as a person and admiring them as an artist. So it's really like it's you, man. It's everyone that we were on set with. It was everyone in the post-production process. I mean, like that was the crazy thing about this. Like I have a lot of pieces from my past and experiences I've had that definitely lent to uh the topicalness of this film and the location and these characters, but the larger, I guess, from a directing perspective, the larger influence I had from this project was really the support of the people around me. And I don't think we talk about that often. I think we're always like, oh, there's this like influential figure that's, either present in your life or, in your past. Like it's a professor or it's a mentor or someone like that. But as influential as those people are, no question. This project is really a testament to the literal magic that is around you constantly, and it's your friends. Like you, it sounds crazy, but like you don't need anyone else but your friends. Like your friends are all so incredibly talented, and we don't get to spend time really unlocking each other's magic for the purpose of one sole project. So that's what was really special about this. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, man. And it's right back to you. I mean, I just want to bring up the fact that, you, me, and our friend Meredith, who I had on here as
Ah,
well,
yes.
we had agreed on always like once a month just having dinner and talking. And I remember all of us saying like, man, this is like food for the soul every time we meet up. And we always ended up leaving the dinner super inspired and we were ready to go like take on whatever challenges we wanted to do. And we always knew that, we had each other if we got stuck. And so that
Totally.
was a lot of the times when I was unsure or I didn't know what my next step was. I know like you guys were always like a phone call away, or, like with this Blinko project, I was really excited to finally put what we had talked about so long
Yeah.
and have something tangible that shows what happens when you really do go seek out your friends and cash in those relationships that you've been working with so hard.
Oh man, absolutely. I mean, Meredith Vivian is a great example of someone that wasn't directly involved with this project that is like such a great inspiration to both of us. Like she's such an incredible independent filmmaker, and it's that part of your world too. It's the people around you that are also, you know, really just like digging down to the ground floor of who they are and creating stuff. It's so inspiring. Yeah, you said that perfectly. Yeah.
Well, I know that part of you is really good at bringing people together. And my next question was like, what's the best way to network and meet the right people and meet that support team that a lot of us need?
That's so nice of you. Thank you. I'm like, wow, they're just getting hit with compliments here. Yeah, man. Oh, I feel like that's such a classic question. I like hate the word networking too. Like I just think of like networking and I just think of all these business school textbooks I had to read where they would try to explain what networking was on the page. But I always say like in LA, especially if not anywhere else, or yeah, not even LA. I feel like it just if you're a creative person and you're an artist and your art relies on other people's art in order to create something, I feel like the greatest thing you can do is just really dedicate yourself to your friendships. Like you really have to invest in the people around you because those are the people that are ultimately going to understand who you are in a non, I want to say corporate sense. You know what I mean? There's a lot of jobs you go do that you're doing a job for someone else and it's so temporary and you leave the set and there's a bunch of people you never quote unquote see again. So I feel like for me, sometimes networking is happening in spaces that are decommodified from what we think. Yeah, you can go to a networking event, you can go rub shoulders, those things are fruitful. But for me, um, for example, like I work at a few different flea markets around Los Angeles, and I always tell people I've met more influential people standing at the flea market, or at least people that have, ultimately contributed, something to my creative life in that setting than anywhere I've been where you're, at a mixer, like a networking mixer or something, for example. So I think like it's even the people you don't suspect necessarily also. So I think you just have to really like dedicate yourself to improving
Mhm.
and being there for the people around you. And I'm very fortunate to have like such an incredible community of friends here that this project is also a testament to that. But I'm like, networking doesn't have to happen in the spaces that are labeled as networking. I think like going out and just like listening to other people's stories and lives, like those become some of the most influential people to at least being a filmmaker specifically. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think the most important thing for me was just to own what my goals were, who I want to be, what I want to accomplish. Because, like you said, I mean, you could meet somebody just in passing, and they could connect you to the right person.
for
And
sure.
it's all about just being vocal about what your goals are, and you never know. Like it could all be one call away that helps you get to the next step. And so, yeah, like you said, a lot of the times I never went into it trying to get something out of a relationship or somebody I met. But like, I mean, a testament to our friendship and all of our friends that, we just liked being around each other and we just happened to be creatives. And that led to us making a film and making things happen together.
Totally. And that feels it feels surreal now in the way that it felt before we even started that project. Like it's yeah, yeah, it's incredible.
Well, I want to wrap things up with just what would you, sorry, I'm gonna
Yeah,
redo
jump in.
it. Okay, got it. Well, I just really wanted to wrap things up with this last question of what kind of advice would you give your younger self or anybody that's viewing this right now and that would like to start their own project?
Okay, that's such a fun question. I feel like there's a lot of advice I would give my younger self. I'd say like in well, man, in damn, in this sort of lens specifically, I feel like something that anyone that knows me is going to laugh if they see this because they're going to be like, that's what you do all the time. But I feel like I didn't do it enough or early enough. And I feel like I say this with critical thinking involved, but I wish I would have, like, so to speak, like maybe broken the rules a little bit more earlier. And I guess I say that in the sense of like, um, especially, I mean, I could say stuff about previous to my career being in the industry here, but I feel like being in Los Angeles, even, I feel like you move here at any age, at any stage of your career, and there's this sense of trying to figure out how things work and what you should or shouldn't be doing and how someone should be working for you, how you should be working for someone else, and like what really qualifies individual to be, making something or like what needs to be on deck in order for you to go out and create something. And I feel like the only things I've learned in my time living and working here is that absolutely no one has any idea what's going on. And that is a vague response, but I always say this. I'm like, the minute you meet someone that is extremely convinced of something, you need to approach them with an extreme amount of doubt. I feel like the people that I meet that are like, yeah, I'm trying to figure this out still, like those are the people that are actually truly on the brink of like honing in and owning their own creativity, their own world, their work. And so I feel like I would have maybe not advice, but I maybe would have given myself more permission to go out and do what I wanted to do. Like go out and make the film. Like one of the first things I ever made that was on an iPhone, I remember thinking like, oh, like is anyone in this town that's full of big expensive cameras? Like, is this going to almost reflect poorly of what I wanted to set out to do? And it's like, some of the greatest stuff that we're experiencing right now, in what I hope is this like continuing fruitful independent renaissance that's going on. Um, a lot of that is coming from amateur spaces, and a lot of it's coming from, again, like decommodified or decentered elements of the set process, even, and stuff like that. Like you and you and three of your friends can go make a movie. You can go make a movie by yourself. I've done that. You know what I mean? So like, um, there's no rules in that capacity. So I wish I would have maybe, yeah, given myself a little bit more permission to experiment on my own name, so to speak. But yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, I could just add a little bit to that as far as like when I was starting out, I would hear all the traditional answers of, hey, if you want to get your first project, you have to join a project as a PA. And so for a long time, I was just like really, really focused on becoming a PA because I was really eager to just join any project. And I did get a bunch of no's, which I ultimately never became a PA. But because people knew I was interested in this, I was giving a different opportunity of joining the art department, which is ultimately what I wanted to do. And if
Great.
I would have became a PA, it would have just sidetracked me and took me towards a different direction that never really aligned with what I wanted to do. And then me working with the art department really expanded my possibilities instead of just working in an office and doing a like nine to five essentially for a production. And I never saw it that way. I always just thought that it was just one way of doing it. And that was really stressing me out. And ultimately, I was able to learn that, everybody has their own stories, everybody does ways differently. And so I just had to learn it that way.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a perfect answer to that. And you're definitely a testament to that. And so is Destino, and everything that you guys are doing is being built from the ground up. You know, this moment we're having right now is a living testament to those self-driven inspirations that you've, brought into a fruitful reality.
Thank you for that. And I appreciate that you've joined us and that you've shared your story and your insight. And I'm really proud of the work that you've done. And I appreciate that you're here with me today. So thank you.
Thanks, Hugo. I appreciate it, man. Love you. Okay.
Hey, man, I appreciate you and I have a lot of love for you too. And yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Thanks, Hugo. I appreciate it.